Welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like. Enjoy the video. Daria moved through the mist, her steps heavy, and her gaze focused on a single headstone in the distance. She held her umbrella tightly, but the chill still penetrated her bones. Upon reaching Jade's grave, she halted. A young girl knelt there, her shoulders trembling, small hands pressed into the damp earth. Daria's breath hitched. She took a step forward. Who are you? Her voice emerged softer than she had intended. Why are you here? The girl looked up, tears streaking down her face, yet her eyes? Daria could hardly breathe. There was something in that look, something painfully familiar. Before she could process it, the girl spoke. This is my father. Who are you? Daria felt something fracture within her. She wanted to scream, to claw at the ground, to drag Jade out of his grave and demand answers. The umbrella slipped from her grasp as she stumbled back, turning toward the rain, desperate to escape this unbearable truth. But then a small hand caught hers, holding on tight. Daria pulled away, her voice strained. What do you want? Go away! The girl flinched, eyes wide and shimmering. I ran away from the orphanage to see him, and you're his wife, so you're my mother too, right? Can I come with you? I just want a mother. Daria's heart raced, anger clouding her vision. She retorted, Don't be absurd. Look at you. You think you're my daughter? Find your mother and leave me alone. The girl stood silent, shrinking back. Her tears fell, but she made no sound. Just then, Daria's phone buzzed, breaking the tension. She hesitated, staring at the girl, her finger hovering over the screen. She could not explain it. But in that moment, something opened up within her. She made a choice she would come to regret, wishing she had acted differently from the very first moment she saw the girl. The call from the creditor shattered the moment. Daria clutched her phone, heart racing as she heard the words, overdue credit card, unpaid loans, a mountain of bills. Jade had left her with nothing but debts, and she felt the walls closing in. She glanced at the girl, still kneeling in the rain, and a thought flickered in her mind. Adopt her, claim support payments. A sly smile crept across her face, concealing the desperation beneath. What's your name? She asked, her tone shifting as if she were bargaining. I'll take you in, but you'll need to behave, understand? The girl introduced herself as Desi, her voice barely above a whisper. Old. She lived in a nearby orphanage, and Daria wasted no time finalizing the adoption paperwork, bringing Desi home. But the promise of a new life quickly dwindled. Daria turned the house into a strict regime, assigning Desi all the chores, even cooking for her. Desi complied without complaint, her silence echoing the emptiness of the home. Then, one day, Desi accidentally tipped over a bucket of mop water. The splash startled Daria, and fury ignited in her chest. She forced Desi's head down to the puddle, her voice dripping with scorn. Look at you, a dirty rag. Clean it up with your filthy body. Desi's sobs only fueled Daria's wrath. With each apology, Daria's punishment grew harsher, a cruel cycle of tears and reprimands that left Desi feeling smaller and more invisible. That night, as soon as Daria returned from work, her rage erupted. She struck Desi with her handbag, the blows sharp and unforgiving. What does that girl have that I don't? Daria screamed, her voice a storm of fury. Why did Jade betray me for a filthy little abomination like you who thinks she can have a child? I could have had one too, but mine is dead. Who gave you the right to live better than my child? Each insult was a blow, and Desi could do nothing but endure. Tears streamed down her face, but she remained silent, each sob swallowed in Daria's chaos. After the beating, Daria shoved Desi into the storage room. This is where a lowly thing like you belongs. She spat before slamming the door, leaving Desi alone in the cold, dark space. A mouse scurried past her feet, and fear gripped Desi's heart. In a panic, she discovered the door was ajar. She slipped out and stumbled into another room. To her surprise, it was warm and beautifully decorated, as if waiting for a beloved daughter. A pink bed held a stunning dress, its fabric soft against her fingers. Desi tried it on, a spark of love and longing igniting within her, wishing this could be her life. But the fragile moment shattered with Daria's furious scream. That filthy girl! Who gave you the right to touch my daughter's things? Get out of my house! Desi's heart raced as Daria charged in, a whirlwind of rage. She clawed at the dress Desi wore, shrieking and sobbing. Terrified, Desi dashed out of the house, the rain pouring down as she fled, desperate to escape. Desi ran away, leaving Daria alone in the chaos of the room. In a frenzy, Daria unleashed her fury, tearing apart the decorations she had once cherished. Desi's presence had tainted this sacred space, or so Daria believed. But in truth, she had never even met her own daughter. The birth had been traumatic. She had lost consciousness, and when she awoke, Jade had delivered the devastating news. The baby had died. Yet Daria had always remembered keeping this room as a shrine for the daughter she never held. Today should have been the girl's 10th birthday, and Daria had prepared gifts, only to see them worn by Desi. The thought of Desi, the same age as the daughter she had lost, ignited a deeper rage within her. She wished she could destroy everything in sight, especially those people who had invaded her family's happiness. Amidst the chaos, a wooden box tumbled from the shelf above, drawing Daria's attention. It hit the ground with a dull thud, papers spilling out in disarray. She knelt to gather them, heart racing, and nearly fainted as she read the contents. Inside the box lay irrefutable evidence: DNA test results, a detailed account of Desi's life, and a genetic analysis revealing that Daria carried a recessive gene. It was absurd. But there it was, proof that she could give birth to a child of another race, despite her and Jade's lineage. As Daria's hands trembled, she uncovered a diary belonging to Jade. The pages chronicled every moment, from Daria's pregnancy to the birth of the child. Daria's chest tightened as she read how Jade had acted out of prejudice, abandoning Desi at an orphanage without Daria's knowledge, betraying her in the most profound way. Daria sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, my poor daughter, what have I done?" Guilt crashed over her like a tidal wave, forcing her to confront the magnitude of her actions. She longed to hold Desi, to pull her close and apologize for everything, but the weight of her anger and the chaos swirling around her left her paralyzed, trapped in a storm of regret and fear. Daria rushed out of the house, her heart pounding as she searched for Desi. The night was dark, rain blurring her vision and chilling her to the bone, filling her with despair. In a flash of memory, she recalled the orphanage. Maybe Desi had sought shelter there. She turned around and sped back home, reckless and desperate. The tires screeched as she swerved, narrowly avoiding a collision, but crashing into a trash bin by the roadside instead. Hope still flickered in her heart as she drove like a madwoman, longing to find Desi and hold her. But when she arrived at the orphanage, her heart sank. There was no sign of Desi. Exhausted and disheartened, Daria slumped in her car, bitterness toward Jade consuming her. She resented him for dying and leaving her with a mountain of problems, but even more for tearing apart mother and child. Then a memory of her first encounter with Desi flickered in her mind, a glimmer of hope igniting within her. Daria's grip tightened on the wheel as she turned the car around and sped back toward the cemetery. This time, luck smiled upon Daria. She spotted Desi, frail and soaked, huddled in a tattered dress in front of Jade's grave. Without hesitation, she rushed over and wrapped her arms around Desi, pulling her into a tight embrace. "I'm so sorry. I won't let you go again, not for a single second," Daria whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. She held Desi close, feeling the weight of regret lift slightly as fierce determination surged within her. She would protect her daughter at all costs. Daria brought Desi back home, the weight of the past heavy in her heart. As they settled into a quiet moment, Daria revealed everything, the painful truth about their connection and the secrets that had haunted her. She poured out her regrets, vowing to treat Desi with the love she had denied her for so long. Desi listened, wide-eyed, absorbing each word. When Daria finished, she reached out her small hand, finding Daria's. "I forgive you," she whispered, a radiant smile breaking through the tears. "I've always wanted a mom." In that moment, Daria felt a warmth fill the emptiness inside her, a glimmer of hope igniting. They both knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Wounds take time to heal, and their past would loom like shadows. But together, they could face whatever came their way. They weren't just healing. They were crafting a bond that would transform their scars into strength. Here on Karma's Twists, we share the most impactful stories of karma and justice that the world needs to see. Don't miss a single moment of good triumphing over evil. Join our community and subscribe. Be part of the movement that believes justice always wins.